Hey guys, what's up? DJ's Aviation. Welcome to another video of mine. This video will be relatively opinion based with some facts as well. I just thought I'd mention that before we begin. Today I'll be discussing why I personally believe London Gatwick Airport needs an expansion. A couple of factors I want to discuss in this video include the growth of London and Heathrow Airport, also how Gatwick has steadily become the go-to airport now for a lot of carriers, and of course the space surrounding Gatwick. I'm going to try and keep this video brief, but I know very well that won't be the case, as I'll find some way to go on for multiple minutes. Essentially though, I want to begin with a look at Heathrow. At this stage, there are in fact plans to expand Heathrow. While this is a good idea, I almost feel a better alternative would be to expand Gatwick. If you wanted to expand London's Heathrow either with a new runway or added terminal space, you'll be eating into businesses' land, as there are a number of hotel chains that are situated around the airport. And while it could be argued that these hotel chains could be moved with the expansion of the airport, there are also local businesses around that heavily rely on the location to attract customers and also the money earned from the business as their livelihoods. By expanding the airport, you'd be putting these businesses in jeopardy and also people's lives. Let's not also forget there is a suburb and thousands of houses located around the area, but if you take a look at the surroundings at Gatwick, while there are roads stretching around the grounds, in most parts the area is grassland. If the roads did become an issue, these could easily be moved either underground or simply stretched around the new airport space. After all, London's Gatwick only has one operational runway, which for somewhere like London and England, which is so heavily populated and popular as a tourist destination, really makes you wonder how for this long an expansion has not happened. If you're going to expand London Gatwick, an idea I had to ease congestion over at Heathrow is rather than just gain more new routes from Gatwick to the world, so for instance expanding it to South Africa more or expanding it into South America for instance, you could quite possibly take the European services that are operated into Heathrow, like Finnair, Air France, KLM and more, and move them straight to Gatwick. This would free up space in Heathrow and would allow them to obtain new routes around the world with larger aircraft. So instead of paying a whole lot of money for a new expansion, instead they could put the money towards enhancing the gates and terminals to make it a state-of-the-art international hub. Once complete, the airport wouldn't really welcome A320s. However, if an airline was using something like the A321LR to operate outside of Europe, that would probably still be welcomed. Although this could be an idea, it's highly unlikely. If this was to go ahead, you'd need to also strengthen the transport links greatly between Gatwick and the London city centre, especially as European travellers may look to spend the weekend in London and probably would not want to spend their time waiting for buses and so on after their landing at Gatwick. What we will most likely see is a Heathrow expansion and then an eventual Gatwick expansion down the track. When the Gatwick expansion comes, it's unclear. However, Gatwick is carrying over 40 million passengers annually with one runway. The airport has experienced more than 50 months of continuous growth on top of this. With the likes of WestJet and Norwegian operating through Gatwick over Heathrow, this particular area of the market is booming. Services to North America rose 37%. Popular routes included LA, Boston and Toronto, with all other destinations growing fast. An added factor to the growth is the extremely attractive prices for transatlantic flights offered by Norwegian. Some flights are in fact cheaper than Melbourne to Sydney, which is a 1-hour flight and in the same country. With Gatwick now expanding into Asia, it's also showing the intent of other carriers to have Gatwick as a hub on top of Heathrow or switch their operations solely to Gatwick. What's more interesting is how close Gatwick and Heathrow are together. There is around 37 miles separating the two, which is around a 40-minute drive due to the multiple highways. What's even more startling is a 40-minute drive is just more and sometimes less than a typical drive to my local airport. Imagine having two in the space of that here. It really is crazy. However, back onto Gatwick and Heathrow. The two are actually connected by shuttle buses, possibly making a transfer rather difficult for some travellers. In my eyes, if they wanted to succeed with this, they'd probably need to start opening multiple rail links, and possibly high-speed rail links, to get passengers to and from the airport quicker. At the end of the day, the expansion isn't for me to decide, but in my eyes I would simply like to see a Gatwick expansion before Heathrow, especially as there are a number of pros associated with the Gatwick expansion on Heathrow as well, with the opportunity to free up slots and terminal space. Thank you very much for watching another video of mine, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.